This Bulgarian-inspired moussaka is based off of potatoes and lamb meat. These are the ingredients I will be using in the vegetable sauce I am making, as well as some seasonings. So here I have 2 small to medium-sized tomatoes. I have a good amount of basil here, a few small leaves, 2 large carrots, a clove of garlic, a very generous handful amount of parsley, 1 whole red onion, and this comes out to 1 cup of sliced mushrooms. So now it's time to prepare these. This is what our ingredients look like for the vegetable sauce after we slice or dice them up. I put a skillet on medium heat and I'm adding in half a cup of olive oil, my chopped up onion, this is 1 onion, and 1 teaspoon of ground pepper. This is freshly ground pepper. And now I'm going to mix this up. I'll just let this go on medium heat for a little while, stirring it occasionally, and we'll be back when I'm adding in my other ingredients. Our onions are looking good, so now I'm going to add in some more ingredients. These are 2 large carrots that have been chopped up, 1 whole cup of diced up mushrooms, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Of course, you could do more or less depending on how you like this. Now I'm going to do a nice little stir of these ingredients. Make sure everything's coated nicely in the oil. And then I'm going to cover it up with the lid. Keep it at medium heat and let this cook for a little while. I want my mushrooms and carrots to get nice and juicy. Now, put the lid there. We'll be back. Now I'm going to start adding some additional ingredients. I have my 2 tomatoes that have been diced up, basil, garlic that's been minced. If you don't have a mincer, you could just cut it up as small as you can. Some parsley. I love this. Sweet paprika. Marjoram. Not margarine like the fake butter, but marjoram, the herb. And cumin. Right, and you'll mix this up as well. And then cover it again, keeping it at a low to medium heat so that this could become a nice sauce. So here I have ground lamb, and it came in 1 big block, so I already broke it apart into smaller pieces. And I'm adding in several ingredients now. Here I have freshly ground black pepper, half a teaspoon. Here I have a whole teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 teaspoons of sweet paprika, 1 teaspoon of marjoram, and 1 teaspoon of cumin. Now I will mix this all together. After mixing all the ingredients together, all the seasonings with the lamb, I put it on a lower heat and I'm going to cover it now with the lid and let it cook slowly. I don't want this to dry out, I want it to remain juicy. Now that the lamb is brown, I'm going to turn the burner off and mix this meat with the vegetable sauce we have. This is what the meat and vegetable sauce mixed together looks like. And I have my glass pan here that has been greased slightly with olive oil on the bottom and around the edges. I'm going to take this mixture and put it at the bottom of the pan here. We're going to peel and dice some potatoes. I'm using 9 potatoes of a mixture of medium and large sizes. So the potatoes are in a large pot right now, covered with water just slightly over the top layer of the potatoes. I'm adding some salt and I will let this cook on the stove top probably for about 10 to 15 minutes or so, stirring occasionally. I'll know it's ready to turn off when I put a fork through it, and the fork can easily go into the potato without actually breaking the potato up. So you just want it slightly tender. It will continue cooking through once you put it in the oven later. Here are our potatoes. So as you can see, some of the smaller pieces did cook through too much, but others, this is just perfect. It's on the fork, but it's not sliding off when I shake it. It's just tender enough. So now I'm going to take these potatoes and just put them around the top layer of this. The oven is preheating right now to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will put this in there uncovered once I'm done layering the potatoes for 50 minutes. The potatoes are now layered on top, and here I have 2 cups of water that I'm just going to pour over a little bit everywhere. I'm going to wait a little and see what happens here because I want the water to cover the meat and the vegetables, but I don't want it to cover the tops of the potatoes. It's fine if it touches the bottom, but I don't want it over the top. Alright, I didn't end up using all the water. I probably left about a 1/4 cup or so here. And this is going in the oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes. These are the ingredients for the topping. We have 2 tablespoons of flour, 1/2 cup of feta cheese, a whole cup of organic yogurt, 1/4 cup of whole milk, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 4 eggs. I separated the egg whites from the egg yolks, and now I'm going to beat the egg whites until they are fluffy. The egg whites are nice and fluffy, and here are the egg yolks, and I'm adding in 4 tablespoons of water, and I'm going to beat this together. I transferred my egg whites to another bowl, and I'm working with this big bowl here. So I am adding in a whole cup of yogurt, 1/4 cup of whole milk, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, baking soda actually, sorry about that, baking soda, 2 tablespoons of flour. And I am adding in some pepper, freshly ground pepper. Add as much as you'd like. I will be also adding the egg yolks and gently mixing this together. I'm adding in the egg whites, and I'm gently going to fold this in with the other ingredients. We did beat these egg whites. We don't want to ruin them now. Here's our mixture, and here are our potatoes and the meat out of the oven. So you can see most of the water, if not all, has evaporated. And I'm just going to pour this over. So this is ready to go back into the oven now. We have some feta cheese sprinkled over the top, as well as some sweet paprika. The oven is still set at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to go in for 10 to 15 minutes. We'll keep an eye on it, and once it starts to look like the cheese is melting and we have some nice little brown spots on here, we will take it out. Here's our moussaka, and we're going to let it cool for about 15 minutes before we slice it up to serve. This is what it looks like after you slice it. I have about 12 slices for this pan.